fucking live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Oscar, thank you so much for coming out to the studio, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate this a lot. So, one of the first things I wanted to dive into with you, just because out of all my friends and everybody I know, you are the job you have is like on the most cutting edge thing that I think anybody could be a part of. Like it's the fucking future, right?
Definitely, 100%.
So what is Vicarious for people who don't know?
So Vicarious, we specialize in robots as a service, which is, we take care of, we create AI for robots, which we do things in machining and.
So yeah, no. So with what you guys fucking make, because one thing is Zach, one of our very good friends, was also working with Vicarious and worked on like the other end of what everybody does. But bruh, when the fuck do you think AI is about to take over the goddamn world?
I think
bro?
we're on the brink of it, honestly. Like everything is moving into like such a faster exponential rate of growth in terms of technology and everything. And as technology gets better and better and better, the demand for automation and the demand for this type of AI and this type of technology needs to exist.
The thing that's taking all of our jobs.
Yeah,
that's basically the thing taking all of our fucking jobs. So with that, like, because for you specifically, like, you work with what? Like, do you work on like the design or just the AI?
I work
software?
I work on managing the configurations for all the machines that the robots run on. So like, well, for example, like we have robots that do different like tasks, and we have like different needs for machines. So
I was gonna say one of them that I wanted, because I was just looking up Vicarious robots. Is this one right here? Of what? See, like, what the fuck is this? Because when I look at this, bro, I get fucking terrified of like, dude, that's just a hand, and it's like us humans, we're only fucking useful for goddamn hands. Yeah. So what are we looking at right here? What is this thing doing?
So this looks like it's it picks up from this conveyor belt. The thing at the end of the arm, which the blue part you see is the arm, and the end is called the end of arm. That's a gripper. So this thing, it sends air through and it goes down and squeezes, and it'll pick up whatever. Now, if you look closely, there's a camera, I think, in front.
Let me now we have on that. This right here.
That looks like that might be a camera, but how we apply these things is like we have a camera on the front of the robot, and we use it has like depth sensing on it, and it also has like it's like a regular camera and a depth sensing camera. So we train these things to pick up certain objects, and what this looks like is like it'll pass by, maybe read the size of the box, pick it up, and I'm not sure where like the exact use of this.
But
it looks like it's for sorting or something of the sort.
So because like, I mean, dude, I'm this shit fucking, when I look at this and I hear about or I listen to people like Elon Musk talk about how AI and like where we're at and like literally where we're gonna be at in like the next 10 years, like this is how close for, let's say, like Vicarious, because I know the company Boston Dynamics, they created Spot, which was the first, I mean, because anybody can buy it, it's commercial use. Literal, like it's so much more than what it just fucking looks like. Do they have this thing delivering fucking shoes to Pharrell, like for the Adidas commercial?
Yeah.
You know, so like, when are we gonna start seeing that with something like this? Like, when do you think I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna have one of these in my house to fucking flip the frying pan every 30 minutes, or like put the food in and like do things on that commercial level where humans like me, that like I'm not a company, can acquire something like that?
So I think it'll be a long time till that, only because like per need and per task, like you have to train it so to a certain extent, you know what I mean? So like,
how long does that take
to train?
It
could take a while. So it depends. We've before Vicarious even became like before we started selling this as a service, we were into research and we were really diving into how to like train neural networks, and so we have a lot on our back there. So it takes a long time to train things.
So okay, one thing you said that I've heard that word so often. I know probably a lot of people don't fucking understand what it is, but you said the neural network that you guys are that you guys are creating. How would you explain that to like somebody who like how would you explain a neural network that's used for something like this? Because you're saying that you have to train each and every one, But like, are they all just cognitively connected to the neural network? Like that's what they connect to. That's their receiver and their
So I'm
transmitter.
not too big on the logistics of how, the software works.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
take care of the configurations on the machines, but
Gotcha, gotcha.
a neural network pretty much just is like, if you think of how a brain works, like we we take, like, if I want to pick up this water bottle,
Yeah.
I have to know, my restraints, my rules, my boundaries, and like what I have to do, reach my arm out, lift up, like, you know what I mean? So and like, if I miss it or whatever, that would be wrong. So we have to train on a basis of, of right and wrong, and over and over and over and over again, um so it's kind of hard to explain, but a neural network just is, it's the brain, it's autonomous thinking
Yeah.
for a computer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just for something like
Hmm.
this.
Like, if you think of a Tesla, like, Teslas are pretty much training themselves all the time on a neural network.
To advance the autopilot,
Yeah,
right?
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
cause
Like, it
they're
takes in data
constantly
all the time. Like,
and they're constantly recording
exactly.
everything that happens, so that way
And
it gets better.
as cars get into more and more, complicated situations, like, oh, I'm about to hit this car in front of me, or I got to move out of this way before this car stops. Like, it learns better and better and better and better the more it has to deal with those types of things.
So with that, like with the neural network, you don't have to, because I'm trying to imagine like the autopilot thing we just talked about, right? Where it's taking the data from every single car, sending it back to Tesla, and then they use that information to make the new software update, right? To stop,
Yeah,
this from doing bad things in the sand or in the winter or
yeah.
like shit like that. With this though, how many, like for the times that, or for how it gets to a warehouse, and how many times does it have to do that repetitious thing, or is it just software that you just upload and it's like bing bang boom, we're fucking good, like there's nothing else we have to do besides plug in the
So
USB and
again,
upload the
we have
software?
different usages for, like, our robots. Like, we have robots that, like, palletize boxes, which is like putting a box on a pallet. We have robots that sort things. So it really just depends on what we need to use it for. I will say that, like, a customer may come up to us and, like, ask, like, hey, we have these three items and we need them in this box at like arranged in this certain way. So what we would do is we would take scans of the objects that it needs to pick up. And then we would train, like, how we kind of have already some of this under our belt of how to, like, navigate, like, how to pick up objects and stuff
Yeah.
efficiently. But for the most part, you're training what the object looks like. If I was to throw a bunch of objects at it, like, how do I differentiate, like, one object from another, and how to efficiently pick it up and put it into place.
God,
Um,
fucking
so
damn,
yeah, yeah,
bro,
yeah.
dude,
The
that is that just the sound of that is like, I don't know, it's scary to think, because growing up, for us,
Mhm.
right? When I envision like AI to the fullest extent that I could as a child, I guess the thing I just that I always went to was like modding video games.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to how modding a video game is related to, say, programming something like this, would you say that it's kind of the same, or like it's just a completely different fucking thing? Because this is
I would say
highly
it's a
calculated.
completely different thing. I mean, in terms of, like, training that, like, in terms of training, there's many open source things, like, to do and stuff, but there's a lot of proprietary things that we have that I won't really go into
Yeah, yeah,
to,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. No, it's
to
good. We don't gotta
process these
dive that
types of
deep.
things. But, like, I'm not even on, like, I like I said, I'm on the configuration side of things. So, like, sometimes I get to see, like, what they're doing behind the scenes and stuff, and that it's insane. It's the amount of work that goes into, like,
God
training
damn.
and all this types of stuff it's insane. It's absolutely crazy.
God damn. So for you, man, like for everything you know about coding, software, etc., you're mostly self-trained.
Yeah, 100%. I
So
didn't go to college.
how did you how the fuck did you learn? Like for people, like I
you know,
remember the whole learn to code
yeah,
movement that fucking happened, where they're telling fucking truck drivers in Nebraska, be like, hey, get in
yeah.
front of a computer and learn fucking Java, you fuck.
No,
Like,
100%,
so how
100%.
did you do that?
You know, I always go back to, like, it really started in video games. Like, I you brought up a good point about, like, modding and stuff. I remember way long ago I was getting into, like, like, there used to be this game called Half-Life by Valve,
Oh,
and it
fuck
was
yeah.
like,
Fuck yeah.
I remember it was my first touch at, like, something like open source, I want to say, because, like, you could build maps and build like different types of things for the game. Like it had so many tools for you to use, and I kind of learned a lot from there. And as I like gamed more and more, and I got into like modding and stuff like that, I've kind of just become more versed at a computer. You know what I mean? And that's just starting now. In like middle school, high school, I used to be like good friends with like the teachers there that were, that were like with computers and stuff. I remember in middle school there was this teacher named Mr. Rockenbaugh. Shouts out Mr.
Yeah,
Rockenbaugh.
shouts out Mr.
Mr.
Rockenball.
Rockenbaugh.
Computer
He
science
took me under
teacher.
his wing, and like he taught me all sorts of stuff, like
Really?
server, like how to set up a server, networking, all that types of stuff. Um, and then in terms of coding, like I started at Vicarious as an IT, as an IT position. So I didn't really, there wasn't really a big expectation for coding and stuff. The where I got now though, however, is they needed somebody for the team, for the infrastructure team. And they offered me that position, and I said, hey, like, I'm not, I don't think I'm like proficient enough to be in this group. And they were like, you know what? It's fine. We'll do whatever you need to do, like
Yeah.
to get you where you need to be. And I was like, okay, I mean, if that, like, I'm down to do it. Um, and as I started dealing with like real life problems, like in terms of Vicarious, like real life, needs for code, and like how
Mhm.
coding looks, and like what
Understanding
the
understanding the application of
exactly,
it.
exactly, like trying to internalize how our infrastructure works
Yeah.
is, it's something that I've been told that I'm good at. Like I was able to pick up
Fuck yeah, Oski Bowie. That's what I'm talking about.
I was able to pick up there's this language called Ruby, which is what we use to like, it's Ruby is just the language you use at the core of our configuration management.
Yeah.
And I picked that up pretty quickly. It started with Shell, which is like just basic like Linux Bash language.
Gotcha.
And then I moved up to Ruby, and now I'm kind of learning Python and stuff. And like I'm no way like a genius at this or anything. Like I know I have a great position, and like it looks really good on paper, but like I don't think I'm like the smartest. You know what I mean? I definitely think I'm smart. I'm able to like pull my weight.
Fuck yeah.
But like,
I mean, bro, okay. One thing is, I'm gonna give you credits due. Like I said, bro, like you're all, even though you're part of configuration, which obviously, bro, that's gonna lead into something better for
yeah,
sure.
no, 100%.
But the fact that you have the drive for something so complex is it's very impressive, because I mean, dude, you were one of the first guys. I remember coming to your house with Tyler once,
Yeah.
and like you were the first person that had like a triple monitor setup, and I was
Yeah,
like, dude,
yeah.
this fucking guy, he's gonna be a fucking the next Zucky B or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm dumbfounded on that. So, do you think that for, let's say, like the future of Vicarious and the company, that there's gonna be this, I guess, like this absurd usage of like what we're gonna try to put robotics in? Because Tesla already tested that.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla tested trying to make, I think they got to 80 or 85% of their workforce at their Fremont factory was all autonomous.
Robots? Okay, yeah. Interesting.
But they realized that there was a huge problem with the very, very like detail oriented tasks that a robot wasn't able to do, where they found a lot more mistakes.
That's a good point. That's a good thing you bring up. So, like I said, we started as like a research group, as a research company. And the way we are trying to do things is like, we're trying to be able to handle things that are smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point like our goal is to eventually be able to use robots to like solder, like, you know what I mean, like an iPhone or something, put an iPhone together, like something so that requires the most precision is what we're aiming to do. So I think it'll take a while before we get there.
How long do you think till we get to that? Like
it's hard to say, because every month it seems like there's some new breakthrough, or like something that makes like an obstacle so much exponentially easier. But like I don't know, if I was to put a number on it, like I could say at minimum like 20 years probably. Like
is the thing halting that progression? Do you think it's the creativity of humans, or the limits of what what a GPU or a CPU can do today? Like, what do you think is halting that? Like, cause you work for the company, you're saying, 10, like, I don't know how long that is going to take, but where do you think we're faulting? Like, do you think we're going to get to the point where a fucking robot's going to start making a robot because humans just aren't capable of of comprehending what the fuck it's eventually going to take to make like. I mean, the latest graphics card that came out by NVIDIA was the RTX 3090,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And that right there is like one of the most crown piece of just GPU graphics we've ever had.
Yeah.
And the leap from the 2080 Ti Super to this is just so exponential that I'm like, okay, well, how much like are we going to get to the point where we can't come up with that new graphics card just because of humans not being able to be like, okay, we don't know how to do this, and then we're gonna have to take that task and give it to an artificial intelligent neural network, right, or neural web.
So I see what the point you're getting at. Like, I'm not too sure. So the real thing that halts like progression in terms of like vicarious and like robotics is the robots themselves and the processing technology. So the way that like things have progressed is like robots, like the first robots were super, super, super expensive. Like, so to buy a bunch of them and like figure out how to make those efficient was really expensive and like not, pliable, like not malleable to a, to a company. But as things progress, as technology gets better, like as for like not just us as vicarious, but as like AI gets better, robots will get better, and as robots get better, AI will get better, and as AI gets, it's a cycle. So it's kind of a natural progression, I think. The thing about like, I don't think we'll get to a point where we'll be like outsmarted by AI in terms of ideas. You know what I
And
mean?
like the creative aspect that human beings bring to technology, because if it wasn't for things like the Game Boy back in the day, where that sparked some kids' aspirations to like be an illustrator, and then he comes up with his own concepts, and then that he makes, let's say, a comic book, and then some kid reads that comic book and it's about sci-fi, and then that kid goes on to work for SpaceX because of that creativity from previous generations. But I think I don't know. I because when I look at how creative we can be, and I look at fucking movies and TV shows that are coming out right now, I'm just like, dude, this shit is whack for the most of it. I mean, there's always going to be those ones that are great, but when it comes to like how we consume, right? So
Yeah.
like where people get their creative thoughts from nowadays, it's fucking YouTube, Netflix, I don't know, HBO if you watch HBO, and then like the news, right? But
Yeah.
that doesn't spark creativity. That's just reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Reality.
well, hey, we probably are in the Matrix? I have no fucking clue, bro. If we are, that'd be fucking lit. But if we're not, I mean, sheesh. So, but yeah, back to what I was saying, like that creativity that human beings are like, we're trying to comprehend new things and then make that a movie so we can inspire people to do better shit. Do you think that's gonna like we're coming to the point where like everything is redone, everything is rehashed,
Yeah.
most things are like a redo of something that came out 10 years ago, and we're not gonna we're halting creativity right now. Like creativity is not where it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago, because those ideas were new. But like I feel like we're running out of a shortage of new ideas. Like, do you think we are just being in that space of creatives, right? Of people making bleeding edge technology? Do you see that?
I've seen progression. I feel like more people have more access to tools and things like that were never imaginable. Like, I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, like just like in terms of like software and like coding and stuff.
Yeah.
There's such a bigger push to like get kids and stuff into this type of stuff. So I think it'll only get better. I think as we have more tools that are more accessible and more understanding and easier to use, the more people will want to create. You know what I mean?
You think we're gonna see a bigger push for, because like when we were kids, when you had a gaming PC, not an Xbox or a
Yeah.
PS4, that was like fucking like, to me that was big. 'Cause I'm like, holy shit, your parents spent however much money to get you this PC. Do you think we're gonna see an influx of new parents making sure
That those type of things happen.
that those things are in the house?
100%,
You know?
100%, 100%. Like even if you think like now, like this whole pandemic, like the requirement for technology and like computers and stuff is so much more. You know what I mean? Like kids are doing school on Zoom and stuff now.
Yeah.
Like Wow, it's coming down. You hear
Dude, it
that?
is fucking pouring. I don't know. Wait, hang on. Oh, it's not being picked up on the mic. But god damn, son. It just out. Was it raining on your way over here?
Yeah, it was pretty bad on the
Oh
way over here, but now it's
Jesus.
coming down. Like,
God damn. God damn.
but yeah, no, I think definitely like those things will need to be in the house. Like there's going to be a much bigger push on like making those type of things accessible. Like a good example of this is like like that in like Korea there's like League of Legends, like college. Like you can go to college to learn League of Legends.
Yeah,
Like
they have like you would go there for like a sports team and you can
exactly.
get a scholarship for playing League of Legends now because of
Exactly.
how big
And that's just
esports is
like video
becoming.
games and stuff, you know what I mean? Like now I feel like like a lot more people are aware of like what they need to know for the future, like coding and like, like how to use a computer and stuff like that. Like people are just getting much, much, much more versed in this realm. Like, you know what I mean?
So what would you recommend? Because we know a lot of new parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the thing that you would like be like, hey, like your kid, make sure that like he's able to have access to like if they can afford it, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
it's always a luxury.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think you'd tell like a new parent, or even like what would you teach your kid in the
I
future, or like want him to get a part of on the internet that's gonna progress them to be able to like use a command prompt and know what
100%.
like code is?
100%. I think the big thing to like teach your kids is like the thing that I want to teach my kids. Like I can't give everybody advice, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
thing that
yeah.
I want to do for my kids is I want them to have like I want them to learn how to have fun with building things. Like at its core of what engineering is curiosity and having to build, to fix or to create or something like that. So I just want to give my kids the building blocks to do that, like whether it be code, like give them some sort of code knowledge and like have them run with that, or like
Yeah, man. Because like today, there's like I see it all the time on Instagram. Well, not lately, but I used to, where you could buy like these super basic computer build kits. They cost like $100, and it gives you everything that it takes to build a computer and understand like what to like how to code things and shit like that. And the influx of that is something that I personally like. I like seeing that,
yeah.
because I feel that with this, like what we're talking about with the this fucking hand robot, like most human jobs can be taken by just that
a
goddamn
hundred
robot
percent
right there.
100%.
You know?
we'll go like we'll go to like a customer and install these and they'll thank us and I'm like, we're taking your job. Like oh, I'm so excited for the new robots, like
And it's like, yeah, hey, I'm glad you're excited. Be happy for the next half a year.
yeah, I mean, but it's necessary, you know what I mean? Like
Especially because I don't think we'll ever be able. One of the people I'm just obsessed with is Elon Musk. I mean,
yeah,
who the
I
fuck
love
isn't?
Elon Musk.
You
Yeah,
know,
I love Elon
who
Musk.
doesn't love that
Yeah.
fucking guy? And I think about like, okay, the day in which we can colonize Mars,
Yeah.
and or even the moon, which I mean, the moon would be kind of dumb to colonize. It's right there. Let's go to Mars. Let's
Yeah.
fucking do that. If once we can do that, I think of like, okay, if they have to build a dome to be around this new civilization, how the fuck is a human being gonna do like dude the idea of like tearing your suit or whatever the fuck just going wrong instantly you're that half your workforce can just be blown into oblivion. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
dead. Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And I'm like, this is the only way I see that happening,
yeah.
because like mining and drilling and I don't know, I think about this shit way too much.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like one thing that Elon came out with that I thought was fucking crazy was, did you see Starlink?
Starlink, yeah, yeah,
Have you
yeah.
seen that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was gonna say, bro, if explain it a little bit because I understand, but just for the people watching.
So I'm actually not like too. I know what Starlink is. I know it's like their satellite
Mhm.
service that they have up, but other than that, I'm really not sure. I know they're expanding that.
Okay, I got you,
Yeah, yeah,
Oski,
yeah.
I got you. Because I was watching. Do you know Linus Tech
Yeah, I
Tips?
love Nine
I
Detective. Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
love Linus, and they got one. They got a beta testing, and
Oh,
they're
okay.
breaking it down and busting it up, and it's basically like instead of like having like a dish TV satellite, you
Yeah.
have one of these Starlink ones for your internet. And what it does is it's motorized so that way it can tilt in the direction it needs to get the signal. But the thing that's revolutionary about this is traditional satellites sit I don't even know. I don't even want to say the number because I know I'm gonna forget what the actual one is. But really fucking high,
Yeah.
way the fuck up there. So they're stationary in our orbit. So like it moves with wherever it's trying to give service to. Starlink is like only like 25% of that. It's way
Closer,
closer.
yeah.
So the satellite makes a full rotation of the Earth in 2 hours.
Interesting.
And because of that, because they're way smaller and they're gonna have a shit ton of them, the idea is that say you live in Alaska in the woods, and of course you don't have fiber optic cables going out
Yeah,
there or
yeah, yeah,
anything like
yeah.
that. You get one of these, and Linus they tested it. They were getting like 130 megabits up and like
That's
24
crazy.
or no, 134 down and 34 up, just with fucking satellite.
That's insane.
You know how
That's
fucking
insane.
insane that
Yeah, no,
is?
that's insane.
And I look at that and I'm like, dude, one thing is it's $100 a month right now for the subscription to have it. But for like first world country, people that can afford this, obviously, it's going to be fantastic into making this into like a standard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
100%.
Because
100%.
I've what is it, the trash, the amount of fucking space shit we just have around the
Around the
earth.
earth, yeah.
If you see a graph of this and like where they digitalize it, it's like, dude, how the fuck is anything flying without colliding?
100%.
You know?
100%.
And I think this is something that's just going to revolutionize that. And like,
There's a word for that. What's that called? Do you know? When the trash that's in the man, I can't.
is it just space debris?
There's like a technical word for it, but I can't think of
I have no, no, no,
it.
it's blank in my fucking mind.
It's all good.
It's blank in my mind. But one of the things that I don't know if you, well, can you talk about like with Vicarious, like the companies that you guys work with? So what are some of like the biggest companies that have like taken interest in this? And obviously I understand it's going to be everybody,
Yeah.
but like who was some of like the first that saw the vision of this, and like when did Vicarious start?
So like some of the big things that we've like done is sorting of boxes, like putting together like like think of subscription boxes. Like there's I mean I won't name any companies,
I
but
think actually I think I
like
saw a picture
like that picture.
or like this right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's called kidding.
Oh, here, wait, let me get that. Okay, wait, so it's called kidding?
It's called kidding, yeah.
Oh shit. I just lost your picture. Oh, here we go. So what is kidding?
So you pretty much there's these bins, these kits of stuff, or I mean these bins, and you fill it with objects like per bin. So like each bin
Oh,
will have a
okay,
different type
yeah,
of object.
gotcha.
And what this does is it looks at the bin and it sees like how to pick up the closest thing most efficiently, and then puts it in a box at an orientation, and like creates a kit. So like think of like a makeup or like razor kit or something like that.
So it's just basically being able to pick up whatever it needs,
Yep.
put it in the box
Yeah.
exactly where it needs to go.
100%.
Hundreds of thousands of millions of times,
Yeah.
however many a
Yeah,
day.
so those type of companies definitely are like interested in that. Shipping companies are super interested in us.
How fast does this thing go?
Super fast, like crazy fast.
Like
Not like to the eye fast, but like if you put it like on a graph, it's way quicker than humans.
and it's
like-
way more consistent.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's one of the
100%.
biggest
Yeah.
the biggest ploys for this.
And the way we sell it is like everything's kind of modular. So like you would need something like this to create the kit, and then what are you gonna do with the kit? You're gonna put it on a pallet. You're gonna do all these sorts of different things that like humans normally do. But
Is it easy for like if a company has one of these, is it easy for them to be like if they're not a software company or they don't have software engineers on staff, is it easy to be able to like reprogram this to do something else around, or is that just like no, you don't do that. Like they have to call you guys.
what do you mean?
So like say I bought this, right?
Mhm.
And I'm having this to do kits, but I want it to do something else in the factory. Like what if I wanted to like, go up and pick boxes off a rack or something?
Yeah,
like how easy is that?
it would probably be like a whole different thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't think we build these things for this application. Like everything's cemented there.
Oh, so
like,
they're not universal whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it's basically just like you're buying this for this one thing, and then like you can't do anything else with it after you bought it.
I guess if you want to put it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Gotcha.
In terms of these like kits and stuff, for sure. Like, but like the companies that buy this is pretty much at the core of their company. Like that, like I go back on the subscription services. at the core, they need to be able to spit out boxes as fast as they can because that's how they make money.
Exactly.
So like, you know what I mean?
No, I got you. I got you. Because I just, this shit is just, it's so over my, because I try to understand it. I'm really interested in technology, and like, I like to say, I know like a little bit about everything. And this is the one thing where I try to wrap my head around,
Yeah.
like the day I go around and I see, like, 'cause dude, in Los Angeles, have you ever seen the Postmates robots?
Yeah, the little roller thing. Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
the first day I saw one of those fucking things, I was like, "Oh, that's it. We're in the apocalypse. Skynet is online.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is the
it."
future.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And like,
100%.
I just like, especially, I think it was the Atlas robot by Boston Dynamics, the humanoid looking one.
Yeah.
Dude, if I ever see that thing walking down the street, like, just, I don't know, delivering somebody's fucking groceries,
That'd be insane.
like I just I try to think of like the future generation, right? So after us, like, I mean, we're extremely young, but I feel like we age more than anybody fucking else just because shit moves so fast.
Yeah.
And like the relationship that, like, me, I'm 20. So like when I have a child and that kid is 20, like his relationship to a robot, like how he works with technology, is something that fucking terrifies me.
I too. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was I think it was Black Mirror, and it was like an episode with like Miley Cyrus, and she came out with these little like I don't know, it was like a little companion like doll thing that like little girls would buy, and like it would talk to them, and it's like artificially intelligent. But the fucked up thing about it was that since technology has progressed so far into the future and where they were at, which I think it was only like 10, 20 years, the brain, so the CPU of this thing was basically it was just a copy of this pop star's brain. But instead of like programming it to do certain things, they just took her entire brain, copied it onto a USB,
And like
and
put it there.
cut out parts. So like when you're talking to her, she's always happy,
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
excited. But like you can go in and it would unlock, you could unlock her brain, which is like,
I gotta
what the
watch that.
fuck is going on? And starts freaking the fuck
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, do you think like that is ever going to be possible? Like
I
downloading the human
so
fucking
I want to
brain.
say no, but Neuralink, like the work going on over there, you know, the stuff that they've shown and like think of what they haven't shown, like how much, you know,
I mean,
I
dude,
really don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, I think a lot of people like to speak on your point. I think a lot of people want to assume that like robots will be able to like take over and like have their own thoughts and be sentient to the point where like they're living beings but be among us. But in my mind, I feel like at the core of everything, we, you know, robots are going to be made by humans, so there's going to be limitations from humans. You know what I mean? I I don't. I think it's unreasonable to see it anytime soon. Like, but I think maybe it's like maybe in 100, 200 years. Like,
so you don't think in our lifetime?
in our lifetime, I don't think we'll be
Huh.
uploading our minds places or anything like that.
I'm like, I couldn't. I'm like, even the, I don't know like the commercial applications of even like that. Like, I don't even. I understand for like a Jeff Bezos. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, fuck yeah, you'd want to upload your mind. You're the richest guy. Well, one of the richest goddamn guys on the
Yeah.
planet. But like, I just, I don't know. I guess I'm weary of this shit.
Yeah.
You know, I use technology for all this. I couldn't have this podcast without
Oh,
technology,
technology.
right?
Yeah.
But there's also this other part of me where I'm like, dude, you can kit your entire house out with all Amazon basic stuff. Like
Stuff. Yeah.
literally everything, and everything will have Alexa in it. And you
Yeah.
can click a button and be like, "Hey, I need, I don't know, fucking 30 fucking towels or whatever,"
And they'll
right?
order it. It'll come to your house. Yeah. Yeah.
I can order shit with my microwave. This is fucking crazy. Why the fuck is this even a reality?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, one thing, I fuck Amazon. If you're hearing this, Bezos, I don't fuck with your company. I'm not a fan. I don't use it. I don't have Prime. I've stopped using it. I'm just not a fan of that stuff because like I are you scared of like how much we're being listened to?
100%. 100%. Think how much. Think like all the cameras and microphones that are in everything. Like Your phone has 2 microphones. Like
Dude, I got a microphone on my
your watch has
watch.
exactly. Like some smart fridges have microphones. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely think and the application of hearing, like, we like to think like, oh, they're trying to like listen to us like specifically, but I think the most logical thing for them to use like our voices and like video and stuff for is training. Like, it's free data. You know what I mean? Like
Like training like the vicarious robots, as
exactly,
we were talking about
exactly.
earlier.
Yeah, yeah. And just collecting like data is the most valuable thing. Like since the dawn of time, like information and data is the most valuable thing. So yeah, I think yeah.
Do you think that like I envision this privacy revolution happening
Yeah.
where we're gonna get to the point where it's gotten I don't want to use the words out of control, but it's the only thing that's coming to my mind that could define this well, because like if you went to YouTube and asked them, okay, how write down in words how your algorithm works right now, they would give you probably 3 sentences of the bullshit that they came up with fucking all the way up top from the CEOs. But in reality, you can't. You can't explain this amalgamation of like how this AI is constantly learning every day based off of like on YouTube when they ban videos, right? And they do it because of like a word in your title
Mm-hmm.
or like a key
Song or
phrase.
something like that. Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And we're getting to this point where I think we're gonna have this big ass. I mean, probably not even big. It's mostly gonna be silent from the people who actually give a shit. Where like we're not private. There is no privacy in America. There's
Yeah.
just not.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna get to this point where people are gonna start actually waking up to this. But then there's also the part of me where there's this old philosophy that actually Eddie talked about
Okay.
and told me a while ago, where
Shouts out Eddie.
shouts out Eddie Mason. And it was, if you want to destroy a people, right, or control a people, not destroy a people, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do what Hitler did, and you take away the people's everything, their books, their religion, and you try to erase what they are and what they know them to be. So all they know is you as the master. But there's also the other side where, what if you were able to give people something so interesting that they don't even want to touch their own books? They don't want to learn their heritage.
Yeah.
They don't care about where they
Anything.
came
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
And that's what this
That's
is.
coming. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a very good point. Like, I think, like you said, privacy is going to be something that we're really going to like need to like buckle down on, and like the whole like it's going to become an issue at some point. But I think I can definitely see in the future, like, we're so engulfed in our phones and like in games and in like technology, like where you're not paying attention to stuff around you, to the point where like going to like meet people and like have coffee and stuff like that is going to be like a luxury. Like, there's going to be companies like, you know what I mean, companies talking about like, have some fresh air, like, you know, like,
Dude, like the Lorax, bro,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
they were
yeah.
selling fucking air in the
exactly,
future.
like selling the stuff that we take for granted now back to us. I feel like that's how it's going to become. That's where technology is headed.
And everything's becoming more and more finite.
And we're giving babies like phones and like tablets and stuff now, like to the like we're just teaching our kids how to like use technology, like, for everything, like, you know what I mean, to how to get engulfed in technology.
Do you think we're gonna lose human connection in the next, well, we're in our 20s, so let's say by the time we're 60, the idea of what you were talking about, right, of just even going to get coffee or hanging out with your friends and having a conversation with multiple people, or even going to like a party,
Yeah.
is going to be something where human beings just become so nervous and anxious of the world because it's not through a screen.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see that anymore by the time we're like 50, 60. Like, do you think that's going to happen?
I could see that happening.
And that fucking sucks. That sucks that
Yeah,
you can say that's going to happen, because sorry.
I feel like human connection is going to change. Like, think about how we interact now in like Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. Like, Instagram, I feel like most people try to like be, you try to be the sexy you try to be like, you try to play it up. And Twitter, you try to be like funny or something like that. You know what I mean? And I think the human connection as we know it is definitely going to change. Like it's going to be just a popularity contest, and like
That's an interesting point you brought up with how like social media becoming the future of what human emotions are, because like you said, you go to Instagram for one purpose, to feel a certain way, to feel one emotion,
yeah,
and you go to Twitter to feel another emotion and feel a different kind of way, and then you have TikTok, which I
I
mean,
love TikTok.
yes, I don't even know where that would fit in because there's just so much shit on TikTok, and like Snapchat, there's a different kind of a way you go about using every single app,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, dude, I don't want to see that future, bro.
We are trained to like crave the instant gratification that those things give us. You know
And
what I
I'm
mean?
guilty of it, man.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
guilty of that
100%.
shit all the
Everybody
time.
is. Everybody is. Like your parents are. Everybody is. You know what I mean? It's just where the world is headed.
And that, man. So do you think that going into next 5 years, 10 years, and this is more of like a geopolitical question, is like America since we were children has always been like we were it. We
Hmm.
were on top. And do you think because of how much technology's taken the forefront of everything that honestly I wouldn't like you wouldn't even consider us at the forefront anymore? Because when you have companies like I mean like Xiaomi
Yeah.
or like Tencent
Yeah.
who fucking own everything and they're just buying everything they fucking can because they got so much money out the ass that it's
Yeah.
ridiculous, to where like if you aren't number one in technology, like it doesn't matter. Like technology is the new gold standard. Like if you have what China, I mean China I keep looking at them and I'm like, there's no way going into the future if we're gonna consider like what the definition of a country's dominance is standardized
Yeah.
on is not going to be like I mean the military is always going to be there, it's always going to be a fighting force, but nowadays if you got a fucking room of 20, 30 good ass hackers, you can take down anything you
Yeah.
want.
100%.
Everything is made by electronics,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
And
all
held
part of
up
it,
by electronics. Yeah.
and it's all on the same network, and
Yeah.
all it takes is one person to compromise that
Yeah.
shit.
That's it's like a whole different space of like of combat, like a whole different, like, you know what I mean? Like think of war. Like wars are like, they have the sea, they have land, they have, space, or not space, sorry.
Well,
But like
technically we
this
do
is the
have
point. This is the
space.
point I'm getting to,
Oh,
is now we're deploying space units, and now we're like the next is going to be technology and the internet, and like who has the control of that. Like to speak on your point, like to agree with you. Um yeah, like I think technology is definitely going to be the decider of who is
who's on
doing
top?
well.
You
Exactly.
know.
Yeah, and like you said, China's a really good example. Like you look into China, it's kind of looking in the future of how technology is going to be, among us. Like,
Especially when it comes to the development of like and one thing is I'm not a fan of Trump, but one thing he did say that he put into action, which is something that I think we kind of are going to need in the future, is the name's kind of cool, I guess, is Space Force.
yeah, Space Force,
You
yeah.
know, and understanding the future of cyber warfare, because I mean, I'm pretty sure it's possible if you launch the right satellites into the sky, you can take down an entire country's power grid.
100%.
Like that is a
Mhm.
possibility, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
not being crazy
Some
about that.
EMP type of thing. Yeah, yeah.
And understanding that is going to be the new like that's going to be the new future war zone. And when it comes to like I guess military applications, there's just this insane amount of like I guess the emotion I'm trying to capture right now is like I can't comprehend it. I can't like understand like okay like how would that work, right? And because I always try to put two and two together, and I like trying to figure things out on my own, and understanding like the future of just that little aspect of technology is something that's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Controlling space. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
So you said something earlier about like going to Mars and like putting people on Mars and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and I definitely think a future for humans is going to be not just being on Earth, like going to different places and doing different things and finding out about different planets and stuff, and actually moving people out there. Now, I think Space Force and stuff is going to be like this, or it's going to be a race. It's going to be a race of who can get to these places first. You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah. And that's,
Think about going to the moon and how like there was a race from Russia and US and all
I
that.
mean, Sputnik was the biggest reason that Kennedy kicked us into
Yeah.
fucking gear,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
If we can migrate like if we can duplicate people or like a group of people onto like a planet, like if we can put all of China like on Mars, you know what I mean?
Or even past that. Like, I feel like whoever does Mars, it's gonna be like the next thing is gonna be like one of the moons of Jupiter.
Yeah, farther, farther, farther,
You know?
100%, 100%.
And that though, like, see that I'm super excited about. Like everything, like when it comes to like the warfare thing we were talking
Mhm.
about, like that scares me. But to have that Mars colony, I mean, that's gonna happen. That's gonna be
100%.
a
Yeah.
byproduct of that. And I'm excited for the future. But I guess it's just because there's a lot of shit I don't get. That like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that I can't see and nobody else can because we can't
100%.
fucking tell the future. But like I look at this, right? I'm gonna go back to this picture of, oh wait, whoops, goddamn it, here we go. Is this right here is a goddamn robot picking up a little stuffed animal. Oh, it's so cute. Look at that. It's picking up animals and putting it into a box. But in like 10 years, that thing's going to be holding an AR-15,
15,
bro.
like, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
gunning down fucking whoever
100%.
we need them to. And I think is going to change how we even view life, because I mean, we already do it now. Drones take out fucking villages every day. Like
Mhm.
that's just, we do that.
Mhm.
And I'm like, how, like, when are we gonna get to the day where I can, like, okay, I'm like, I just put in the coordinates on a computer, I press enter, and then it goes and does it. Like, there's no human flying the drone.
Yeah.
There's no human behind the trigger.
Yeah, so I've always had an opinion on that type of like warfare and like robots and AI. Like I definitely think like technology and robots are going to be a huge player. Like don't get me wrong, but at the core of what conflict is between nations and whatever, it's always going to be a human byproduct. It's always going to be a human thing. So I feel like man fighting will never go away. Now the whole how it'll look will be different. Like I think we might have like, like people in suits or like, you know what I mean? Like you said, drones and stuff. But at the core, I definitely think it'll always be man. Like man shooting the rocket. Like
And that see, and I hope that's the case,
Mhm.
because I mean, right now you can go. I mean, obviously not now. Everybody's got so goddamn sensitive. But in the past, you were able to go on Twitter. You could say some wild shit, and then like you're just behind the screen. Nothing really is gonna happen unless you said some really wild shit,
really bad.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, even that, like, you can take this as like a case study and look at, okay, well, this right now I can say whatever I want, and there's times where like you just don't feel like that thing. Like if you said that to that, you would never say that to that person's face. But if we got to the point to where warfare was the point where like there's not a human being piloting that drone and the drone is just piloting itself, it's like sending a text message to go do that. Like that's kind of where I'm viewing just the future of warfare as technology advances.
I
Because
see what you mean. Like completely remote, like
yeah,
fighting.
yeah, well,
I
it's
see
like
that. I see
there's
that.
no
Yeah.
person shooting. It's just you send whatever you send on your computer, and that's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
It's like sending a fucking tweet.
Yeah.
Because as we were talking about with these robots, the amount of precision that this thing is able to just be able to do,
Mhm.
right? The most minute things, and you guys are trying to get better and better at that.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what if we get to the point where like, well, I mean, honestly, that'd be way better than just bombing a whole village. But like, if there's like a target, right? So let's say the
Yeah.
U.S. government, they have a target in, I don't know, somewhere, anywhere, and they can identify where he's at, and like a drone flying over, instead of a bomb, it's a goddamn sniper shot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're able to
With
do like,
super accuracy through the wall or
do you
something.
think
Yeah.
we'll be able
Oh
to
yeah.
get to that
Yeah,
with just
100%.
looking at this? Like, I think of the military application of that
100%.
precision.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
Dude,
Like
and that's gonna be
there-
wild.
technology is always, or government is always using technology in like war. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
dude,
they always got top secret things that we do not know about. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
And
that's
like,
one of the driving forces for
yeah,
war.
yeah,
You know,
100%.
if we didn't go through World War II, I mean, America would not be what it is at all.
Hmm.
You know, like if we didn't hop into, I mean, Vietnam, that was a scratch. We should not have done that.
Oh yeah.
But World War II, like that solidified where we were because of the amount of industrialization that happened.
When do you think the next World War will be?
Oh. I feel like we're gonna see a civil war before we see another world war. Because, dude, I swear to God, Kim Jong Un was the best shot
A hundred percent.
of that
A hundred
happening,
percent.
and it doesn't look like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still shooting hoops with Dennis Rodman. He was able to get all buddy buddy with our last president. I mean,
Yeah.
that was good. I'm
Yeah.
glad that happened. But other than that, like, I don't see any country having the military prowess to even begin to put themselves on that stage. Like, I guess if one thing is, I would consider like the war in Afghanistan the closest thing to world war in our life. I mean, it seems like almost every country is involved in it to some extent.
Yeah.
I mean, we just pulled ourselves out, which, I mean, hey, I'm not the chief of that shit,
Yeah,
so that's not
yeah.
my responsibility. But I think that we're not gonna see that unless it's China.
Yeah. China
Or
definitely,
Russia.
or Russia.
Russia's a big one where I'm very worried, but
I think China more likely just because they're more like,
dude, they got the shits.
yeah, like they're more advanced in terms of like technology and just everything really. Like,
I mean, dude, you can go to a mall there that's literally dedicated to just PC
yeah,
parts.
no, 100%. Not even just PC parts, like components and
Yeah,
like,
like
you can
wires
you
and
can build a
anything.
whole iPhone like just in one block.
With just what you find from there, and like even just having that accessibility to your citizens instead of telling them, "Hey, go to fucking Best Buy and buy an iBuy Power."
Yeah.
You don't even know how it's built. You don't know what the things are. You just know that's a computer and it puts Windows on the screen. Like that is something I think we're falling very, very short from, is like just having that military prowess when it comes to technology, of the people understanding it. We're not getting to that level. We're not getting to that level of every citizen understanding what a GPU is.
Yeah,
Or
no.
what a CPU is.
Not yet, at least. Like,
See,
they're trying to pump it into the schools and stuff now. Like, Common Core is teaching more about computers and stuff.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, it isn't your sister, right? She's in.
She's in high school still.
My
My mom's a teacher for third grade. Yeah,
yeah. I forgot about that. I totally
no,
forgot
you're
about
good.
that. But so, do you think we're like just our schools and stuff are going to be 100% changed because of that? Because I understand like technology is limited based on to where you live.
Man, that's a hard one. School.
Because California, I mean, growing up, we were able to have the things we needed.
Yeah, 100%.
Technology be inclined to understand how shit works. But like the Midwest and like places where they just have fucking nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think we're ever in our lifetime gonna bridge that gap right there of just being able to deliver what some kid in California gets versus Midwest? Or do you think Midwest is always going to be behind just because we get everything first?
That's a hard one. I feel like more than ever, like everything's been more accessible. Like you can buy a cheap computer and learn to code on it. Like it's not that hard. So that's a hard one, but like information is at the core of everything, like I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And the way we transmit and the way we move information now is more quicker than ever. Like to get things, you know what I mean? Like to like send orders and stuff to like the other side of the US or something is way different than it was before. Like you could change the world in a tweet, you know what I mean? So like I think there's going to be a lot bigger push on having like the lesser fortunate to have to learn these things, or not have to learn these things, but you know, to learn these things, to put it in school, to have these like clubs and like little groups open and stuff like that for that. I think as time progresses, and most definitely in our lifetime, we'll see more people on computers and learning how to do stuff like that.
I'm excited for that, man.
Yeah,
That's gonna be fucking sick.
Talking about China, like everybody knows, like not everybody knows, but like one of the basic things they teach in school is like just computer skills and computer, you know, how to work computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because I want to edge back to the whole Neuralink thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that like because I think about okay, if I was having a kid, and let's say it's the year 20, I don't know, 2200, and they start becoming a requirement.
Neuralink, that
Yeah.
I feel like that's way too invasive. Like,
You
I
don't
don't think
think that,
that'll.
that'll ever happen?
I don't think it'll be a requirement.
Yeah, so you don't think in 200
I
years we're gonna throw
okay.
democracy out the
In
window?
200 years, yeah, I think the world is changing as we like think of cryptocurrency. Like we're
Yes.
moving more and more. We're moving more and more into cryptocurrency and like decentralized stuff. So I definitely think things will change like that. But you know, the core of America and like the core of like right wing people like that doesn't sit right. You know, that's so invasive.
Of
Of you
course.
know what I
Of
mean?
course.
Um, but I don't think it'll ever be required. That seems way too invasive. Unless it becomes to the point where like think about like now you need a phone. Like if you don't have a phone, like if you don't have a cell phone, like even just to call anybody, like you're down a leg. You know what I mean? Like older people like don't know how to work these things. Like
Exactly.
they're falling more out of touch with this type of stuff. So if Neuralink ever becomes like that, where it's like, oh yeah, you need Neuralink to pay your bills, like then maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt it. See, but that's Neuralink, we really don't know what it is. Like we don't know we know what it does. Like we know it's a chip in your brain and it like reads like pulses in your brain and stuff. But like we don't know the capabilities of it. We don't know if it can control you. We don't know what it can pull data from your head, like what kind of data it can pull from your head, like stuff like that.
The
So
applications of it are
yeah.
something that we don't know, because I'm like, if I could get a Neuralink and I put it in, and there's like a, I don't know, I would imagine a USB Type C slot where I can put in a USB drive with all of the Mandarin language,
Yeah, that'd be
and
crazy.
I can instantly understand Mandarin
Yeah,
and
yeah,
talk it fluently. Yeah, I think I'd fucking get one.
yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, that is not even a super soldier. That's a fucking super employee.
I'm just thinking about like how they would like limit like if anybody can be the best person ever, like who's going to be the best? You know what I mean? Like if it becomes
Yeah.
to that point.
Because then it's like everybody's. I guess because I think like right now there's such a gap when it comes to like fucking me and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
There's a huge gap. It's never gonna happen. I know I'm not gonna get to that, but if I had the Neuralink where I could pull any information from the web that I wanted. I could learn anything I needed instantaneously and
Mhm.
have it just as like a hard drive in my head that I
Yeah.
can instantly tap
Insert stuff.
into,
Yeah, yeah.
you know? I don't think there would be even like we wouldn't even have like I don't even think we'd have a government at that point.
Yeah.
I don't
But that's so dangerous. Like that's so I can't even like
What's
think
dangerous about it though?
just I mean, I don't know how the inner workings of it look, but like you said, you get 20 hackers in a room, you can control anything. Like now we're talking chips in your brain, you know what I mean?
Well,
I
then then that's where I think the requirement thing would come into. Because if it's like, because if it plugs into your brain, you would, I feel like no matter whoever is sitting behind the server where all this shit goes to, like I would imagine they would be able to be like, oh, this guy wants to murder something, doink, let's turn that off, and then they don't want
yeah,
to murder
yeah.
anybody, and
Yeah.
that just totally goes out of what being a human being is. And do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, that like in the future, if we did all have neural links, that like that I don't know, consciousness of like you being able to make a good decision or a bad decision is erased, where there is no decision, there's just the thing you do, and like this thing in your head is basically like telling you this is what you got to do, but it's not like a fucking HUD display where it's like, hey, don't murder this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
It's like
It's just
just
like in like impulses like that, how
yeah.
you feel. You're asking me if I think that's dangerous?
Well, no, do you think that's like, well, yeah, like is that dangerous or is that good? Like, do you think that's a good thing that like if we had
So
neural links to be able to control the brain and the impulses that we as a human or us as a society deem bad?
it could go both ways. You know what I mean? Like you said, like someone feels like they have to murder someone, and you can turn that off. That's a big thing. But like
It's pretty wild.
also like I think it's bad in the sense of like you could like everyone can just do whatever they want, like and not really have to work for it. Like and then I feel like people that are like it's gonna turn into like kind of like a racial profiling thing, like in terms of like people that don't have it are stupid and people that do have it are rich and that type of thing. Like
Mm.
I don't think that type of technology with that amount of power isn't going to be controlled by somebody and isn't going to be like for the rich, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Because right now, I mean, our phones aren't decentralized. It's all companies that own all the
exactly.
apps. And
Exactly.
like you said, and I remember you said this once. I don't know what we were doing, but it was funny as fuck. And you were like, you know why everything's free on your phone? And I'm like, what, Oscar? Why? You're like, because you're the product.
It's
Uh,
true. It's
and
true.
and that's
It's
something that
true.
terrifies me. So like, for people who don't know what that is, what does that mean? You are
You are the
the
product. Well,
product.
think about like Instagram and like Twitter and stuff. Like it's free to use. Like the product is you because you're getting put ads and products into your head. Like
Mhm.
they're forcing these things down your throat. Like it's just trying to persuade you to do things. You know what I mean? And that type of, like I said, information is invaluable. Like to be able to have people addicted to something and be able to spoon feed them information is like crazy. Like I said, you could change the world in a tweet. Like
Yes, you fucking can, bro.
yeah,
Yes, you fucking can. All right. Oh, look at that. We just hit 1 hour.
1 hour
One
really.
hour. I was gonna say, is there anything else you were trying to talk about, man? Because I think I kind of talked about most of the things I wanted to talk about. Vicarious, Starlink, fucking going to space. Actually, you know what? Last question. Do you think aliens
Exist.
exist?
I definitely think aliens exist. Like maybe not the gray-headed, big-eyed like things you picture like on TV and stuff, but the definition of alien, which is, you know, someone not in our someone not that we don't know outside of in space. You know what I'm trying to say? I think those definitely exist. People like other beings definitely exist other than us. The universe is way too big to have that not exist.
Dude, I need to find. I want to see one before I die.
I was watching the podcast with Jesse. Shouts out
Oh,
Jesse.
shouts out Jesse.
Um, where you showed the
Amua
rock,
Amua.
the Muamua. Yeah, yeah, that shit's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Dude,
crazy.
that whole thing with, because when I first like, because I think it was on the Joe Rogan podcast with Lex Friedman. Do you know
Okay.
who Lex Friedman is? He's like an AI scientist.
Okay.
He's a technology dude. And one of the most interesting things about Oumuamua, at least to me, was the fact that they found it to be 90% reflective.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is like, I'm like, okay, well, Jesse brought up a really good
Really
point.
good point. That the pressure, like,
If pressure in space
yeah,
could have
refine something to that.
because the temperatures are there if it's moving at
100%.
however fast it
Mhm.
is. And I'm like, wow, Jesse, you probably just shattered like
But
everybody's
like,
fucking theory.
even if it's not an alien spaceship like people want to believe it is, that's still crazy that like something that far away we're able to detect and see how like reflective it is. And like I think Jesse made a good point where he was talking about like it, like think about the materials you can get from that. Like think about all the stuff we don't know about that could be like that could cure like cancer or something. You know what I mean? Like
That
yeah, like that's
yes.
that just something that in itself is an alien. Like that in itself is like such an outlandish thing to like think about and fathom.
You know, if we get to the point where we can, because I forgot what the test flight was, but there was a comment that we sent a rocket to, and to take a
Samples from?
sample
Yeah, okay.
from it as it was fucking moving. And
Mm.
literally the video of it's wild, where this rocket's coming down and it literally is there for less than a second, because right when it touches it, it has to grab what it grabs
Gotcha.
and get the fuck off, because it's all of its axes get thrown off and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
because this thing's moving it
Super
so
fast.
fucking
Yeah,
fast,
yeah.
right? And I'm like, dude, if we could get to the point where we can take a comet, bring it here, keep it in gravity, and mine off that shit, the only thing stopping us from that are motherfucking businessmen. Because say we're able to go get a comet and
bring it
back, and it's like,
Who controls that? Who gets what? Like
well, yeah, it's also that, but the value, whatever's on that, say it's all fucking iron or steel,
Mhm.
that the value of everything we have here will plummet by billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that despises me about, like, that's going to stunt progress because we're not going to be able to do things like that because people will be like, well, everything I have here is going to be fucking devalued.
Yeah.
And then these guys are fucking billionaires. So they control what the fuck happens. They get lobbyists. They control governments.
Yeah.
Governments stop getting permits.
I would imagine at that point, though, like when we're pulling comets back to Earth or whatever, like we're going to be at other planets. Like we'll have people on Mars. Like, you know what I mean? Like we'll have a unit deployed to that. Now, here's a like completely off, not really off topic, but just completely different point. I always think about, imagine if like the Earth was like presented with like an alien like threat where the whole world's in trouble. Like, do you think that we would like the countries would bind together and like try and fight this thing, or do you think like how would that work? I always think about that scenario. Like,
honestly, dude, I think that if it's like, do you remember the movie District 9?
Yeah.
If it's something like that, no. Because we'll be able to control them like we did in District 9, where we literally put them in like internment camps and they lived like fucking savages.
Yeah.
But if it's something so insurmountable, where the entire world is looking at each other and we got our fucking pants down because there's nothing we can do. We don't got Space Force. We don't got Space Force. We can't do any of this shit. I think that's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to bring us
all together. Yeah,
in any kind of capacity
at all.
Because like, I don't know how many movies people got to see to where it's like two people can hate each other so much, but the moment they have a common enemy, all that gets thrown away.
All away, yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that would be it. But dude, if that happened, like tomorrow, we wake up, we look at the sky,
and we see
a fucking big ass freighter that's just so goddamn big it literally goes from horizon to horizon. We are fucked. We're slaves.
100%.
We are getting put on their ships. They're taking all our shit, and we're slaves forever. Yeah. That's it. That's how that scenario will play the fuck out, depending on what they want.
Yeah.
You know, but do you think that we've actually? I was gonna say that was my last question, but fuck that. I got a whole lot because now we're getting into fucking UFOs.
It's spicy. It's getting spicy, bro.
I got a whole bunch of shit I want to talk about with UFOs because you know Bob Lazar.
Oh, that name sounds super familiar.
So Bob Lazar was a guy who allegedly worked at, it's
like Area 51?
Yeah.
I know about this. Yeah.
And he was working on alien technology that they found. He said first that, the whole thing, the story hasn't changed, which is something that's wild for 30 years to go by, is the alien technology that they found was an archaeological find. So it wasn't something that came out of the atmosphere.
And then we picked it up. It was already embedded in the earth.
Exactly. Gotcha. So they brought that back. And because of how this project was working out, they took everything apart and they would have I guess they were all physicists. I think they had different roles, right? Whatever their PhDs were in. And they would all work on these separate pieces of this thing to just figure out what the fuck is this? How does it work? And they were never able to talk to each other. You would literally, if you saw another person, like they could take your life. Like that was something that you could not do, was talk to any of the other people working on the other parts of this.
Really?
So that way they could I can't say the word.
Combine?
No, compartmentalize.
Oh, yeah. Tasks and...
Yeah, so that way only whoever's the general is the guy who knows everything that's going on, and all these scientists don't know
what each other are doing.
Yeah, so they can't.
They're all adding to a bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they can't piece it together by themselves. And he talked about that they found a piece, like the thing that they were working on was an engine of some sort that was able to use the Earth's gravity to propel itself up and down. So like levitation. But because we're spinning, it just takes that centrifugal force, can harness it and go
up or down. Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, dude, it's far-fetched.
But it sounds reasonable. It's
right. Doesn't it sound like something that like we've seen this kind of stuff in movies and things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we're close enough to where like we need to start revealing this information, bro.
100%. 100%. Do you ever see those FBI files where they talk about like how to like change your energy? Like there's, dude, you gotta look at this shit. It's like some unclassified shit where they're talking about like how to change people's auras and how to change your own like energy, and like they're talking about energy planes and like
these
like
are FBI
astral
guys?
Yeah, this is an FBI document, unclassified.
They go to the astral plane.
like I don't know about go there, but like
like
something in your head, like I haven't read the details of it.
dude, okay, you got to send this shit to me.
Yeah,
This
no,
sounds
it's
interesting
crazy.
as
It's
fuck.
crazy. It's crazy. And like the graphics on it are so like odd.
It just looks weird, or
Like the graphics are of like a human silhouette, and it's like just like a diagram of like this type of energy, this type of energy. Like I don't even know how to
what
explain it.
the
It's so
fuck,
far fetched and crazy. Like, and
dude?
this is a real thing that happened.
Dude,
Like,
and that shit is that shit is crazy to me. Where
hmm
I'm like, okay, I understand why our government withholds information. They don't want to set us into mass hysteria.
yeah,
But like, bro, I think we're at the point where it's like, we're good, bro.
yeah.
Just let us hear the fucking shit. Give us the fucking spiel,
We've seen it
bro.
all. Like we've
Yeah,
thought of it all.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I just want to know before I die, like,
the
did
truth.
we find it?
Yeah,
Did we find alien life? Because I don't know why that because I guess it's everything, so much shit we're just desensitized to,
yeah, 100%.
where for me at least, if we were able to confirm that, you showed me it and I was able to see it like a picture on TV, like that is, it's such an achievement that I can't even like really comprehend the words to describe like how big that would mean to
Mean
just me.
to
You
reveal
know?
that. Yeah,
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 to know that like, dude, we're not alone.
yeah,
We're not
100%.
the only
That
ones
changes
here.
the game. That flips the script, bro. Like knowing that, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And for you, Oscar, do you think that we found life here? Like, do you think that there's anything like the monolith bullshit, which I don't even you
Oh,
remember that?
the monolith, I don't think is anything. I think that was like it's just some art thing or whatever.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
I definitely think there's like like something among us that like we can't explain. Like think about religion and think about like just writings on the walls from like Egypt and stuff like that. Like they describe some really like outlandish things like to think about. And I have this theory that like, or not this theory, but it's just thinking of like if you can think of it, it might be true. You know what I mean? Like being able to construct that in your head, like might be true. Like I don't know what my point is with that, but I'm saying like
If you can think of
there
it and manifest it,
it could be true.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
So
a real
like these things
possibility
that
of that
people are
happening.
writing about, like Egyptians wrote about seeing shit in the sky, or like think about how like the Stonehenge was built and stuff like that. Like stuff that's just so unexplainable and so peculiar that like that we don't have an answer to it, and to think of something outlandish makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do imagine that there's something that we can't explain. Now, like again, I don't think it's green people with big eyes and like
I
you
don't
have
think
like
that's
flying
it.
saucers and stuff, but
If anything, I think it's bug people.
bug people,
Bug
like something,
people.
yeah, like think something super small we can't even like look at, like
Because I look at like for species, at least for here on Earth,
mhm,
like because apes got to where they were and then we were an offshoot of that somehow. I don't even know how the fuck we still have apes on the planet and we're here. I don't that should
doesn't
barely
make sense.
compute, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
But because that happened, like we could have easily just been an offshoot of a centipede if we had like a 30, 40 times more oxygen in the atmosphere,
mhm,
you know? And it's like back in this was oh my god, I don't know what era it was. This was when the Earth first was cooling and we started getting things like monopods, centipedes, and insects and stuff like that, where everything was kind of swampy and super super hot and humid, and we had a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere. Bugs like a centipede would be like the size of this table.
yeah,
You know, just because they had more oxygen, they were
mhm,
able to be bigger because they can consume more. And I'm just like, where the fuck would that green guy even fit in?
yeah.
You know
No,
what I'm
hundred
saying?
percent,
I'm like, I don't even
100%.
know where that would fit in if I'm looking at what we got here. Like, I
Yeah,
guess us, like if we got smaller, but then like that doesn't even, I can't
makes
even,
sense.
yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't even make sense to me. You know?
Yeah, I'm 22 years old and I'm still learning about like fucking animals and shit that I've never even heard of or like thought of, like in the deep ocean and shit like that. That's also super scary. Is the fucking deep ocean.
I'll
Like
never fucking go to Mariana's Trench. I don't
yeah,
care. I
like
don't
think
care.
what's in there, bro.
I don't
Like
care what fucking like in the future we have these deep sea submarine rides you could take
yeah,
tours on.
every
Fuck
every
that.
few years we get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah, like it's great. It's like talking about space too. Like how much we don't know about out there and how much we don't know what's below our feet.
And
Like
that's fucking scary.
scary. Like that shit's insane.
That's scary. All right, man. Let's end this out. Oscar, you got
That's
any last
good.
word for the pod?
No, not really. Oh, what's your favorite cheeseburger? Like from where?
Oh, my favorite cheeseburger.
Yeah, like favorite
Okay.
restaurant to get a cheeseburger
Okay,
from.
my favorite actually right now. Okay, of all time is probably Dave's Hot Chicken, but like
Okay, okay, yeah,
that's like a chicken
yeah,
sandwich.
yeah, yeah.
Cheeseburger wise, to be honest, bro, I'm a Five Guys dude. I'm a Five
Yeah.
Guys man. What
Right
about you,
answer.
Oscar?
Right answer. Five
Five
Guys.
Guys. That's
All
what I'm
day.
fucking
All
talking
day,
about.
every
That's
day.
what I'm talking. Well, Oscar, bro, thanks for coming on the
Of
pod,
course.
bro.
I got one final
I
thing.
appreciate it.
Can I
Oh,
take
it's
your
good.
picture?
Oh yeah, go for it, bro. Go for it.
I've
Let's
been
get
getting
this
into
live.
film photography lately.
Dude, oh, dude, that's a fire. I think that was on Zach's story. I
Yeah,
saw
I
that.
got this from Japan.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's the tomato.
Yep.
That's fire. That's
Okay.
fire.
Awesome.
Gang.
Cool.
Oh. All right, y'all. We're out.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.